Okay, the chamfer tool is real similar to the fillet tool that we just talked about or we just looked at. In fact, I say that chamfer is fillet's little sister. It works exactly the same way. The options are real similar. What the chamfer does is it takes and puts an angled line across a corner instead of a tangent radiused arc. So it works the same way, and it's also found on the home ribbon in the modify panel, and it's often behind the fillet command. So we'll select the chamfer tool, and we have to again watch our command line. So we have trim mode is set to trim, and distance 1 is set to 0, and distance 2 is set to 0. A lot of times the chamfers will be specified at a distance by 45 degrees, and so when it's a 45-degree angle, both distances are the same. So in this case, we're going to set distance 1 and 2 at 45 degrees. So I've showed you that you can access these options a lot of different ways. One is to right mouse click and select it from the context menu. Another method is to select the options directly from the command line. The other option would be to type the capital letter and press the enter key, or you could use the down arrow and pick it off the list. So I'm going to pick the distance option, and for our distance we're going to specify 2 for our first distance, and because this is a 45-degree chamfer, we're going to also have 2 as our second distance. And since both distances are the same, it doesn't matter which line you pick first. So now we get the broken corner. You'll see chamfers on the end of shafts, primarily shafts or threaded features, usually on the ends of cylinders to help guide those cylinders into the holes. So again, we're going to use the chamfer distance, except this time we're going to adjust the distance from 2 to 7.5. So I pick the chamfer tool. Again, I've got to access the distance option whichever way you like. I'm going to pick it from the command line. I'm going to type 0.75. And now's a good time to point out that these numbers inside this bracket here you see that specify the chamfer second distance, and it has 0.75 in these angular brackets. These angular brackets are the default values, meaning if I just press the enter key, that's what AutoCAD is going to accept. So I could waste some time and type 0.75 again, or I could just press the enter key and take that default value. It all works the same. Okay, and so now we've got the smaller chamfer. So the next chamfer we're going to have 2 different distances. We're going to have one at 0.75 and distance 2 at 0.75, and the distance 1 at 2, I'm sorry. So again, we're going to repeat the chamfer command. I'm just going to do a quick right mouse click. I've got my options set to the time sensitive right mouse click, and so that repeats my last command. I'm going to use the distance option to set my distances. Distance 1 will be 2, and distance 2 will be 0.75. And I'm also going to use the multiple option here. So I'm going to pick the multiple. I'm going to pick the vertical line and then the horizontal line. I'm going to pick the vertical line and then the horizontal line. Pick the vertical line again and the horizontal line. One more time. I'm going to start with the vertical line and the horizontal line. So I was able to get those chamfers the same way on all 4 corners by selecting the vertical line first. So the first distance that came in was the 2 this way, and then the 0.75 was the other direction. Okay, so we have 2 going up and down this way, and 0.75 going left and right. And just like the I'm finished with that command. So we're going to adjust the trim mode here and show you the difference between trim set to trim or no trim. So I'm going to use the chamfer tool again. I'm going to adjust the radiuses, or not the radiuses, I'm sorry, the distances will be 2 and 2. And I'm also going to go into trim. So I'm going to access the trim option, and I'm going to set it to no trim and pick these 2 lines, and you'll see that without the trim, it just places the line in there and leaves the original corner there. Occasionally that's going to benefit you. Probably 80%, 90% of the time you're going to want the trim mode to set to trim. The trim mode works the same way with the fillet. So if you don't want to lose those lines that you're starting with in the fillet command, you can set the trim to no trim in both of those tools. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the chamfer demonstration here. It's probably not as much of an everyday tool as the fillet tool, but it's certainly one that you want to get your arms around. If you have any questions, you can always give me a call or send me an email. Thank you.